Welcome to Writer's Workshop. I would like you to watch this video to be ready for our teaching time for the Thursday Zoom Writer's Workshop. So if you're watching this on Monday or Tuesday, you will have a couple days to get ready for our meeting on Thursday. We have 4 targets to meet this week. We will be writing to teach about a topic by giving facts about it. Second, we are going to listen to each other's ideas to help add details to our stories. Third, we're going to use a computer or a tablet to publish your writing. And the 4th target is to show that you know how to write sentences. It's a lot of jobs, but we're going to do it together. So our jobs this week, number 1, when we get together, we're going to have a check-in. And you are going to let me know if you have your draft finished or are you going to need support at the end of the meeting. It would be best if you have your draft finished because then you can move on to jobs 2, 3, and 4. Job number 2 will be to review the rubric. A rubric is a score sheet where you can find out how many points you're going to get for your writing. For every part of the writing process that you follow, and for all the writing that shows in your story, you will get points. Number 3, you're going to revise and edit. That means you're going to look at your draft, check that rubric, and see, am I getting all my points? Because if there's something you don't have in your writing, you can quick make a fix and get a point for it. The 4th job is to write an introduction, and I have a template for you because a good writer lets the reader know what their book is going to be all about. So working on your introduction would be your last job for this week. This is an informational writing rubric. You have been making a nonfiction text, and now we're going to look at how you get your points for being a good writer. Good writers have great ideas. You can see that in the first column. Good writers have organization. Good writers have voice. Good writers use word choice. Good writers have sentence fluency. And good writers use the 5 conventions. We call them the 5 checks. Under ideas, you'll see you could get 3 points. I use a web. Everybody used a web, so everyone's getting a point for that. I stick to one main point. I notice that everybody picked one animal to focus on. Then you get a point because you have focus. I use good details to give clear information. When you answered your questions, did you give the reader facts about your animal that give answers to the questions about characteristics, habitat, communication, and food? If your reader finds out the answers to those questions, then you have given good, clear information, and you'll get a point. Under the row that says organization, you can get 3 points. Did you organize the ideas into sentences? If you took your web and you wrote sentences on your draft, then you will get a point. Are you going to start off with a bang? That's the part where you write your introduction. Once you have your introduction done, you will get a point. The title, it says think of a title last. The title is what you have written on your title page. If you have that done, you get a point. For voice, you get 1 point, and that is for using adjectives, describing words that add a little bit more to your sentences and show that you are trying to give the best information to your reader. Word choice has 2 points. Did you use interesting words in your writing? And did you choose powerful verbs to show actions? So I'll be looking, and you can be looking, for all the action verbs that you added to your writing. If you don't have enough action verbs, you can always go back and make a fix. Sentence fluency, you get 2 points. My sentences are complete and sound smooth and fluent when I read aloud. When you read those sentences aloud, Are they making sense? And do they have a who and a what in each sentence? And we're going to look for detail. And maybe you could add a little more detail in each sentence and get some more points. The last one is the 5 checks. We call them conventions. Conventions are the rules for writing. You get 5 points. Did you use capitals at the start of the sentence and in names and if you use the word I? Did you use punctuation, period, question marks, and exclamation marks in the correct places? Do you have spaces and neat letters? Did you spell using the word wall, stretching sounds, and resources in the room or resources from your research? And did you reread to check if it makes sense and sounds right? At the bottom, you'll see there's 5 extra points for text features. If your story has headings, you get a point. If your story has a table of contents, you get a point. If you add diagrams, illustrations, and labels to your book, when you get it home and you add those diagrams, illustrations, and labels, and you can show it to me, then you'll get more points. You can get up to 21 points by being a good writer with your informational text. Next, we are going to use this rubric to look at my draft to see how many points I am getting and maybe some changes I could make to get some more points. Here is my title page. Did I focus on one? Here is my title page. Did I focus on one topic? Yes, I focused on earthworms. I didn't have to do anything to my table of contents because it was already written for me. But I did have to take my web and write about my characteristics. Earthworms have no bones. Earthworms have no fur or scales. They do have tiny hairs that help them move in the soil, and they are slimy. They lay eggs. As I look at those sentences, I notice that I have answered the questions about characteristics. So I have given clear information about the characteristics of my animal. I've also used some adjectives. The word, I don't know if I want to do that. Let me think about this for a minute. Using the rubric to check your writing is something that Mrs. Grimmer will do with you. But if you want to make some fixes ahead of time and work on revising and editing, you might ask a parent or a family helper to look at your draft with you, and you can go through the rubric and see how your writing looks so far. Mrs. Grimmer is going to show you a few examples. I have finished my title page, and I have focused on earthworms. So I can tell I made a good writing choice because I stuck to one main point. I didn't write about a bunch of different animals. I just wrote about one main animal. When I look at my sentences for characteristics, I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. I can do the 5 checks and check if I have capitals, check if I have punctuation in the right place. I can look to see if I have spaces and my neat letters. I can check my spelling, and if I have a grown-up, they can check spelling with me. And I can reread to make sure that it makes sense. Earthworms have no bones. Earthworms have no fur or scales. They do have tiny hairs that help them move in the soil, and they are slimy. They lay eggs. Already, I can see that I have given good details and answered the question about characteristics so that my reader is hearing facts about earthworms. I also notice that I have some adjectives. I said they have hairs, but I used the word tiny because that is an adjective that gives a little bit more detail about the hairs that help them move in the soil. I also used the adjective slimy. I have an action verb, move, and an action verb, lay. So I know that I'm going to be getting some points in my writing. As I look over habitat and home, I like to check, did I answer the question and give the reader good information? I talked about how the worms live all over the world. Live is a strong verb. I talked about how deserts are never a home for worms. And I ended with worms cannot live where the ground is frozen. So that has good details and answers the question about habitat and home. Communication. Worms do not make any noises. They do not have ears to hear other worms. Worms use touch and taste to know which way to go. I have the word use. I have the word know. Those are action verbs. So I will be getting some points. So you will go through your draft, check your sentences for the conventions and the 5 checks, look to see if they are including adjectives and powerful verbs. And then after you do some revising and editing and just making sure that your draft is the best and it's ready to go for Thursday, you are going to work on your introduction. An introduction tells the reader what they're going to learn about your topic. And you can also tell the reader why you wrote this book. I have already worked on my introduction. So this is what it will look like when you are finished. I put in 3 boxes for you to fill in. So your introduction has a heading, introduction, then it says, read this book to find out all about earthworms. I am interested in earthworms because I see them in my garden when I dig in the soil. So when I introduce my topic, I'm telling you what my topic is going to be all about. And I told you why I was interested in my topic. You can click on the box and type the name of your animal here. Then you can click on this box. I am interested in, and type that name of your animal here. And then I want you to think about, why did you pick that animal? Did you pick that animal because you were curious about learning more about it? Did you pick that animal because you've seen them at the zoo and you really love them? Did you pick that animal because you wanted your friends to learn more about it? Or because it was an animal that not many people know about? So you're going to tell me, why did you pick that animal? And then your introduction will be finished and I will add it to your book to be published. I will see you on Thursday. I hope to see lots and lots of drafts finished and read your introductions. I will give support to anyone who's needing support with drafting, and then we'll start using those rubrics to find out how many points you are getting for your informational text. We are really close to publishing. Keep up the great work. See you Thursday.